Hey guys, Thunder E here and welcome to another battle vid. You know what it is. It's basically a gaming battle vid, but we want to see how these two laptops compare and also the processor specifically, Intel Core Ultra versus Apple's M2 Silicon. So if you're joining us for the very first time, smash that subscribe button and notification icon so you can see more videos like this. So Intel Core Ultra is finally out. We made a video of our experience just picking up and buying it. Go check that out. And we wanted to see how well it does gaming, but also how it stacks up against the M2, right? You know, now some of you are going, hey, Thunder E, there's an M3 chip. Yes, there is, but there is no M3 chip in this class and at this price point. So there's nothing for the Air yet. There's the M3 for the MacBook Pros, and the MSi Prestige 16 does not compare to that in all regards. So what are we looking at here? We've got two devices. The MSi Prestige 16 A.I Evo. This is an Intel Thin and Light laptop, and this is powered by the Intel Core Ultra 7. There's also the Intel Core Ultra 7 155H, that's the nomenclature with it, but it does come with 32 gigabytes of RAM and 8 terabytes of storage. Tons of ports in this device, and again, this laptop is super light at just 3.3 pounds, very comfortable and easy to carry around. But we want to see how well that processor stacks against the MacBook Air 15. Now this comes with an Intel M2 chipset. My configuration here has 16 gigabytes of RAM and a terabyte of storage with only 2 Thunderbolt ports and a headphone jack. So in terms of pricing, they are kind of close to similar, with the MacBook Air being priced at $1,899, while the MSi Prestige with Intel Core Ultra is priced at $1,449. Again, kind of close, but for what we have here, that's what we want to see it compare. Screen sizes, the MSi is a 16-inch laptop, while the MacBook Air is a 15-inch laptop. So let's just go ahead and jump in and see what we get. Starting off with Cinebench R23. This is the only benchmark I ran because I wanted to go into some games and also show other games as well, comparing these two laptops. And looking at the Cinebench scores, for the MacBook Air 15, we got a single core score of 1,564 and multi-core scores of 8,123. That's pretty impressive. It stacks up pretty high, but the Intel Core Ultra 7 here has a single core score of 1,695 and a multi-core score of 11,593. So this already stacks better than what we're getting from the MacBook Air. With the MP ratio of 6.84, while for the MacBook, it's an MP ratio of 5.19. So you're going, okay, slightly better Cinebench scores. Let's put it into some real world testing. Let's go ahead and check out some of the games we have. Now, I only compared 2 games against the Mac because these are the 2 games I do have on Steam that I can actually quickly do some comparisons on. And I also showcase more games later on the MSi Prestige 16, so you guys can see what those games actually do. Now, Intel also has Intel Arc, which is their dedicated GPU. It's got XeSS, that's their own form of ray tracing, and also gives some really improved performance. They talked about how that's giving more performance with games that actually support that. So we started off with Shadow of the Tomb Raider here. And Shadow of the Tomb Raider, running the benchmark tool on the MacBook Air 15, we got about 45 frames per second, which was actually pretty cool. And in some gameplay sessions, we actually got about up to 50, 51. Of course, those were darker areas, less things around. But again, we're able to get highs of about 51 frames per second. So MacBook Air actually does a good job there. And that was at low settings, by the way. Now, looking at the MSi with the Intel Core Ultra, we were getting benchmarks of 60 frames per second at medium settings at 1080p. And when we actually went ahead and played the games, we're getting benchmarks of up to 60 frames per second. And this is, of course, with DirectX 12 on and XeSS on as well. So that shows the huge graphical improvement that the Core Ultra brings with the Arc GPU. that was actually pretty nice to see. So we went over and we went to say, okay, look, let's go ahead and check out Fortnite. That's a game that is well optimized for the Mac, does play on the Mac, and also we can play it on this chip. Now, of course, I'm going to give Intel the benefit of the doubt just because nothing has been updated yet to match the system, but the results were quite interesting. Now, you can see the specs on screen that I ratted out for the MacBook Air 15, and when you look at performance, we're getting a solid between, I would say it ranges between 70 to 90, 95 frames per second. And in certain places, it stayed at around 80 to 95 frames per second. That was actually pretty good. Very solid, very, very good. Now, looking at the MSI with the Intel Core Ultra, we can see here that these are the settings, and that's what we played at. And of course, at a max resolution of 3000 by 2000 on the OLED display. And we were getting a range of about 65 to 95, a much wider range here. But there were times where it did stay between 80 to 90 frames per second. So again, it matches what the MacBook Air can do here with Fortnite, but it did have a wider range. So I'm gonna give that slight win there to the MacBook. So you can see in terms of gaming performance that the MSI is no slouch. Now, before I conclude, let's go ahead and see other games that we actually played on the MSi Prestige 16 to see how the Core Ultra actually does. And looking at those games, we played Street Fighter 6. We also went ahead and played Forza Motorsport. We played some Cyberpunk, and we definitely played some Doom Eternal. So look, you're gonna see the benchmarks on screen. You're going to see some gameplay, and you see the settings that I actually played the game at for you. Wow, that is pretty impressive to see that this laptop, the MSi Prestige 16 with the Intel Core Ultra 7, can game quite well. that is an impressive feat here from Intel, showing that it can stand up to something like the MacBook Air, Air 15, but also can bring in that gaming performance that gamers do love. Now, you've seen the different settings I had here, and you're wondering, what about temperatures? And what about also fan noise? Because it does have a fan built into the system. Starting off with temperatures, it did run really hot when I went ahead and played some Fortnite, 50 degrees Celsius at the center, which is about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. So I didn't like that. I wish this had better cooling, but that's also a manufacturer thing as well. So that's something to take notes on this chipset. You know, hopefully they have better cooling in the future. But again, it's not built for gaming. But what about sound? Take a listen to some of the gameplay to hear how it sounds with the fan on blasting, playing a game like Doom Eternal. So I think overall, I am quite impressed with the Intel Core Ultra chipset. I think Intel's done a really good job where the performances in real time, playing the games I like to play, is really solid. I know I did ask you guys for a couple of games. One person didn't mention Cyberpunk 2077, so that's why I included it here. And it was good to see that performance was great across the board. Cyberpunk did run lower, but it seems to me that, again, because this is a new chipset, we're going to be seeing some updates later on that will capitalize on the performance of this chipset, and we'll be getting better results as we move forward. So what do you guys think? Do you think the Intel Core Ultra chipset is better than the Apple M2 Silicon? Let me know your thoughts. I think Intel has a winner on their hands here, but I will be comparing the MacBook Pro with, of course, the more powerful Intel Core Ultra chipsets as we get those in. So stay tuned for those kind of comparisons. And again, if you're watching those for the first time, smash that subscribe button, notification icon, so you can watch more videos like this. And this is Thunder EA saying thank you and always enjoy your entertainment.